Hello ladies and gentle ladies, welcome back to another no, never mind, this is not an industrial stream. Welcome back to another railroad stream. I forgot what we were doing for a second. Yes, I know we are a day late. That is because I got back a little bit too late yesterday. Hello Frosty Flipper, hello Kolbenik, welcome to the stream. Thank you Wide calling me an idiot. But yes, we are doing some more railroad today, and obviously working on the parser still. I'm hoping we can actually kind of whack out a lot of the parser today, is my plan. Possibly finish it? Maybe. We'll see. I'm not sure how well that's going to go, but we do still have a lot to do, so whether or not we'll get that done, I don't know. Bro, call me Alex. No, it's fun calling you Frosty Flipper. I enjoy calling you Frosty Flipper. That's very exciting. So that's the plan for today. Let's go ahead and switch over to the usual view. There we go. And just check this is on the correct monitor. It is. It's very weird having OBS on my main monitor, but here we go. I also have Discord on my left monitor, but I don't actually want Discord on my left monitor. I want my browser on my left monitor. There we go. Much better. So I've done a lot of stuff since the last stream, guys. I've done a shit ton of stuff. Let's see if I can show you what I've done. Kind of, not really, no. Okay, I can go to the history. What did we do last time? Does anyone know what we did last time? I'm gonna quickly have a look at what we did last time, and then you think you sound a little bit sick? Are you good? Do I? I hope not. I hope I'm not sick. I don't think I am. Last time. Okay, so live streams. Here we go. And okay, I found the last one. Oh, we actually started. No, that's not right. That's not right. Wait, is that right? Did we start the parser last stream? No. We started the parser last time? Have I... I'm so confused. I'm looking at the last stream right now. And we started the parser last stream. Really? Where did we get to? Let's see. Let's see where we got to. Imports. So we got to actually parsing the compilation. That's crazy because I've done a lot since the last stream then. I'm actually shocked. I didn't think we did that much. I didn't think we got to there last time. Okay, so since last time, this parser class has now become an 863 line file, which is probably not even going to be a quarter of what it ends up being, but it is what it is. Wow, okay, so I've done a shit ton then. So I will try and briefly kind of go through what we have. Let me open the structure. That will help a lot. So we start with obviously passing a compilation unit here, and then in here we have to pass any leading annotations. So we have the pass annotations somewhere. There it is, which just passes annotations. So pass annotation, which does all of this. I don't know exactly what we did in here last time regarding this, but this passes a bunch of stuff. So this passes qualified name, of course, so that's just like a class name or an identifier and stuff. And then we go back to that, which I'm losing track of. Parse annotation should really be at the bottom, shouldn't it? Let me quickly do that. Next to parse annotation. There we go. That'll be a little bit easier to read now. I will organize this in the future though. So parse annotation. So it does parse annotation. It passes the name. Then it returns a normal annotation. Then we have single member annotation, which passes element values, which does the whole element value stuff. Yeah, I think we did all this last time. I think this is everything we did last time. So if we then go back to this, we then pass modular compilation. I'm pretty sure we did that last time. In fact, I'm pretty certain we did that last time. Then we have package declaration. I think we did that. And I think we did imports. And then we got to type declarations. I don't know if we... I don't think we actually completed type declarations because that requires us to do pass top level type declaration. Yes, I think this is where we got to last time. I don't think we even created this method. So this method just passes the annotations and then also passes any modifiers that exist. So pretty simple, to be honest. I don't think you typed it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I probably didn't, actually. So we do that, and then I can't find where this is called. This is really hard to navigate, but the thing is there isn't like an order that goes like 1 to, you know, whatever, because it's like a tree, right? It branches off, so there isn't a simple order I can follow. But so we do that in here. And then I've done all of this. So I've done parse class declaration. I've completed this. So I can now parse type parameters, which is generics. I can now parse type references, which is like classes and also some other stuff. You can see in here all of the ones this covers. It doesn't cover intersection types or union types, but we'll probably be doing those today, I think. Yes, we'll be doing those today. Then we have the implement stuff, which is just some more type references. Then we have the class body. So this is a whole thing here. Class body declaration. So that passes instance initializers, static initializers, modifiers and annotations. It passes any other top level declarations, compact constructors, which is for records. Oh. Hello? How did we just get to here? Okay, whatever. Then it has type parameters again, constructors, and then class members. When class members has generic methods, which has full methods, which has methods, which has receiver parameters, which has normal parameters, it has type references. And then it has a block statement, so it passes a block, which just passes a list of statements, and then eventually that just gets us to where we're at today, which is pass statement. So in pass statement, we need to be able to pass a bunch of different things, because statements can be basically anything. So obviously if it just matches a semicolon, then it's just an empty statement, so pretty simple. If it's an open brace, then we have to pass a block. Pretty simple. We've already done that, or I've already done that, I should say. And then, yeah, we're going to have to do all of these different statements today. Now, they should, for the most part, actually be extremely simple. And I mean, like, really, really simple. So, for example, an if statement is just... Shut up about bloody shrimple. But I love saying shrimple. It's one of my favorite phrases. Because the thing is, simple is just a dumb word. Shrimple is like hell yeah, man, it's shrimple. But if I say, hell yeah, man, it's simple, like, that's so boring. But anyways, an if statement is super simple, right? Because it is just if, so the if keyword followed by an open parenthesis, followed by an expression, followed by a closed parenthesis, followed by a statement. And then I don't know if statements have else statements in them. Do they? That's a good question. I don't remember if I made them separate or not. Should we have a look? If statement. Yes, kind of. Why? That's not correct. This should be else if. Because it needs to handle else if, right? So there should be a list of if statement, which is the else if statements. To do make this an else if statement. I can't be bothered to do that right now. Because yeah, so it has a list of else if statements and then an optional else statement. That would be correct. Don't know why I didn't do that before. That's kind of weird that I didn't do that, but sure. Why are you developing a brand new IDE instead of doing a plugin for an already existing IDE? So I have talked about this many times, and I really need to make it some kind of FAQ somewhere, but I will say it again. Really just because the existing IDEs, aka IntelliJ, because no one cares about anything else anymore, something like this could be done in IntelliJ. See, for example, the Minecraft development plugin, which I'm not going to try and bring up actually. It would just be a lot harder in general. It would be significantly harder to do something like this, which sounds kind of crazy. That developing a whole new IDE is harder than integrating with else if is identical to else if. I guess that is true, but when you parse it, you wouldn't parse it as you wouldn't parse it like that. So like, yes, but also you wouldn't kind of, I guess. You know, that's a very interesting question. I'm actually curious, in my language, how did I parse if statements? Because I did if statements. That is one of the things I did do. And I think I did else ifs as well. But I'm curious how I parsed those. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. I will bring it up for you guys as well. Here we go. Source, parser. I think it's probably a statement. So I did some weird things in here. So some things you might think are statements are actually expressions, but we ignore that. Class statement, constructor statement, expression statement, if statement. So if statement has, yeah, I'm actually doing it the same way. That's interesting. Oh, that's just that's the semantic semantic analyzer. We don't care about that. And in the parser, how do I do that? So if I find if statement, let me know if you guys see it. I've gone past it because I don't see it. Oh, was that it? I thought I just saw it. Yes, I did see it. How do I do this then? So consume expression, close parenthesis, then it takes the then branch, and then if it matches else, Oh, because you have an else. Right, I see. Because it would be an else, and then the else would be an if statement. And then if you had another else if afterwards, the else of that statement would be an else if statement. So it's actually like a nested if statement, right? So you start with one if statement, the else if of that if statement is its own if statement. And then that has an else statement, which could be another if statement. I see. I see. So actually the way that I changed that is incorrect. That does not need to be a thing. It's a little bit weird, but that does make sense if you think about it like that. Anyways, this is what we're going to start with today. So let's do that. As I say, this should, in theory, be very, very simple. So we have an if statement, of course. Then what we do is we just take a span like that. So span start is equal current span. This is correct. Yes. So if it's an if yeah, so that doesn't match it, so it doesn't consume it. So we have to consume it in here. That's fine. Open parenthesis, pass an expression, close parenthesis, then branch. Optional else branch will match the else keyword. Then it takes the else branch, which is just a statement, and then it's just an if statement. Okay, Copilot did a perfectly good job there. Also, I wonder how your idea will improve development over IntelliJ. Does it have 3D model / animation preview or something like mod plugin code hot reloading? It will have a lot of things like that, yes. I'm not going to go into specifics, primarily because we don't actually have any specifics, but we have lots of ideas of what we need to do. But the reason we haven't done any of those yet is because it requires me to do this, which I'm doing right now. So yes, there are lots of things we want to do, but we're just not at a place right now where we can do any of them. I mean, we technically could, but it's just a matter of priorities, right? Having an actual IDE in place before we start adding things like model editors is just not, you know, it wouldn't make sense to add model editors before we can actually write code. That would just be kind of stupid. So that's why we're doing it this way. Now, switch statements are complicated, right? Yes, because they have a list of switch rules. So switch statements is actually going to be quite, yes, this is actually going to be quite complicated. So first of all, we're going to have a span. I'm going to turn Copilot off because I want to try and do some of this myself, rather than it writing everything for me, because it's going to get it wrong. So we have our starting span, so then we just expect to have a switch keyword, and then we say something like expected switch. What did I say for this one? Expected switch keyword. Okay, sure. That's fine. Then we do exact same thing as this. Excuse me? That is not what I wanted to do. Okay. Wait, what is happening? Why is it? Okay, I don't know. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Now we can actually see everything. Expected open parenthesis after switch. That's correct, right? You can't like switch on thing. No, you can't. I thought for a second you can, but you can't. I guess this just takes in, yeah, just an expression. So expression is equal pass expression of 0, like that. And currently I have to cast this to an expression. I hate that. I really hate that. I don't know how to fix that. So we'll come back to that. I could possibly make this have an extra parameter for the type of expressions, or I should just make this not actually in the generic parser itself. We'll come back to expressions. Hopefully we're going to get to do them today, but we'll see. So we'll pass an expression, and then we will expect a closing parenthesis. So I'm just going to once again copy that. Expect close parenthesis after switch statement. IntelliJ has hot swapping. Yes, IntelliJ does actually have hot swapping. But in theory, Railroad could do some additional hot swapping. I was thinking possibly in the future, of course, Railroad has some kind of way to like actually hot swap things like registries, but I don't know. We'll you know, we'll see. I imagine something like that would be very possible, but you know. Tati, by the way, can low rank members use the general chat in Discord? Yes, anyone with any rank can use any chat. There aren't any chat restrictions or anything like that. I have thought about adding chat restrictions actually, but I think it wouldn't be a good thing. Even though people think it's a good thing, because like you got like bots and stuff, it's really not a good thing, because it means that they would just spam the other channels that they can talk in, which doesn't help anyone. So yeah, that's why I haven't done anything like that. For anyone curious what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the Discord. Link is in the description. You should join. Come join the Discord. Question. Can you do a switch without a block, right? Without one of these? Can I do like switch? Hello. Case. Hi. Can I do that? No. Okay. I didn't think so. So in that case, what we can do is we can kind of expect a block, but I guess we're going to have to make our own block, right? So we can do open brace, and then we can say expected expected that. Is that it? For switch statements, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to come back to things like error messages. They're not super important right now. We'll come back to those. Okay, so a switch rule. So there's multiple different types of switch rules, right? So you have switch labels, which could be a case label or a default label. Now the difference should be pretty trivial, I think. But we'll see. So while can you have it like a no, like a switch without a case? Is that a thing? Technically, yes. Okay, interesting. So you can actually do that. I can do this, and that compiles. Okay, that's good to know. So that means I do just have a while loop then. So I have a while match, not match, while next is any. Yeah, while next is any default or case. So while we match a default keyword or a case keyword, then what we can do is do switch rules dot add pass switch rule. Okay, and then am I missing anything? No. So that's it. So now we can actually construct a new switch statement, which takes in a span from the start, and then it takes in the expression, and then it takes in the switch rules. Okay, let's pass a switch rule then. So create method, boom. Okay, so in theory, a switch rule should be simple, kind of simple. Kind of. Yeah. So the thing about a switch rule is it could be like an expression, or it could be the old one, right? So if we think of a switch statement, we have a switch on something, and then we could have a case like this, so case null, for example. We could do that, or we could do case I, for example. Can you not do that? Different case kinds used in switch. Now, is that a parsing error or a semantic? Like, is that a syntax error or is that a semantic error? That's a good question. Let's look at the JLS. I assume it's a semantic error, because I don't want to have to handle that in the parser. I'm gonna be honest. Switch. So switch expressions and then switch statements. Okay. I'll bring up the JLS for you guys. So following applies to a switch statement. So switch rules, which is here. So this is a switch block which has switch rule, switch rule. So the complex thing about switch statements is that we could have a pattern because of the Java 20 something thing that added switch patterns, right? I think this, by the way, is a semantic issue, not a syntactic issue. So we don't have to care about that in the parser. That's very much a later on thing. So a switch rule has a switch label, which takes in a case item, and a case item can be a constant, a pattern, or a null. Okay. Okay. I see. Let's put this here then. So what we want to do, so we also have this as well, but we can also have, so what you can have, what it's saying you can have basically is case, I can't really give a good example, but like you could do string my string, right? Like that. But you could also do something like number my number. Yes. So this is what we have to be able to handle, which is a little bit complicated. I think it should be fine. Question, can these be like final? Fuck. Can they have annotations? Okay, that's fine then. Can I do this? Yes. Okay. This is actually okay. Because that means we can just use pass variable declarator or declarator, however you want to say that. Is this the right one? No, not this one. I mean local. No, not that one. Pass. Oh my god, what's the method I'm thinking of? It is this one, isn't it? Pass field declaration. No. Wait, maybe it is. No, it's not. It's the one that takes in the modifiers. Am I going crazy? I have a thing for this. Parameters. Thinking of parameters. Because parameters have this. They pass. Oh, it's a separate thing. I haven't made a method to do it. Okay. That should probably have a method to do that. But then I guess that's different because I can't have var args in a switch statement, right? Is that correct? I can't do like string ... Yeah. Okay. Why do you write a Java parser from scratch? Doesn't Java expose the information about the AST? It does, yes, but it's very slow. It's like actually extremely suboptimal at doing so. It's capable of it, but it's too slow to use in a real world scenario, right? Where you're constantly like typing out shit. It has to be able to handle that, and the default Java compiler just can't do that fast enough. We measured, I think, it was about 2 seconds to pass a 100-ish line file, which just isn't acceptable, like at all, for any real world scenario. So, because it's not meant for that, right? The Java compiler is meant for compiling, not for like, you know, constant adjustments to the source and then recompilation. It's not meant for that. So that's why we have to make our own. And yes, before anyone says, there are libraries. There is Java Parser. This one. Which com.github.java parser, which is fine. And theoretically, we could use this. It would probably work. I never figured out incremental compilation, but in theory that works too. Actually, I have no idea how this works. I'll start processor. This is unnecessarily complex. I can't lie. But the point is, it's more fun writing it ourselves, right? Even if the other options are possibly just about fine, you know, we need to attach additional data anyways, because we need to run a semantic analysis stage, so we'd have to write some kind of wrapper for everything that exists in all the other type of parsers anyways, at which point it's kind of easier just to write our own structure from scratch rather than use an existing one and have to write a wrapper for everything. That would be kind of crazy, right? So that's kind of another reason. But also, Java Parser, I think, only passes up to Java 21. And we're going to need, well, right now that's fine, but in the future we're going to want, you know, Java 23, etc. And we'd rather not have to rely on some library to update, if possible. So this, by the way, that's not included. It's just these. Can I shift tab these? No, that's unfortunate. Thank you, IntelliJ. So anyways, let's figure this out. So pass switchable, where am I calling this? Next is any default or case. Okay, so what we can do, switch rule. So a switch rule has a list of labels, and then it has a body. Okay. Yeah. Can I do... Let me bring these back real quick. I always forget if you can do this or not. Can I do case beans, comma default? Yes, I can. All right, can I do the other way around? Can I do default, comma, case beans? No. Default branch, not last case in switch statement. Colon or thing expected. Okay. But once again, I don't think that's a... No, this is the parse error, actually. This is a parse error. This isn't a semantic issue. Because it's looking at specifically what token is there. And it's saying those two tokens aren't there. Which the semantic analysis... The semantic analysis... Oh my god, I cannot speak. The semantic analyzer cannot know that. It doesn't care about that. So this is a parse issue. I was really hoping it wouldn't be, because that's kind of a pain in the butt. But okay, sure. 30, do you like Adele? I don't know. Not really, to be honest. It's just not my kind of music. But I mean, I don't dislike Adele. I just don't like Adele. I hope that doesn't upset you, Wide. But just not my kind of music, to be honest. Okay, so this is kind of complicated then. What we can do is we can say while okay, first of all, first things first, we need a span. So span start is equal current span. Don't know how I forgot that. Very important. Then we could do a match, I think. No, let's have a list of switch case. Is that what I called them? No. What did I call them? List of switch label. Aha. Switch label. Which is the labels. Is equal a new array list. Now, a switch label is what? Either a case label or a default label. Okay. So what we can say is while next is any case, no, we can say how do you want to do this? Pass switch rule. Okay, you know what we can do? We can do a do while, actually. Because we know for a fact that either default or case exists. And so a do while is perfectly reasonable. So what we can say is while next is any default case. Like that. It's actually crazy. I've never used any do whiles in probably any of the projects I've done, except for the 2 times I've written parsers and Lexus. It's kind of crazy because you just don't use do whiles, but this is just the kind of thing where you do, like, you have to, because you have to match for stuff and you want to match without actually advancing, so you have to do something like this. It's kind of crazy. So we have a do while. So what are we doing? Well, we want to know if it's a default case. So boolean is default case is equal match default keyword. Okay. Then what we can say is we can say if if is default case how do we want to do this, because we need to account for this case, right, where you're doing this. So something like we need to say that is that a thing, case default comma case beans valid invalid. I need to note that because otherwise I'm going to forget. So what we're accounting for is if there's a default case and, well, I guess either way we want to go ahead and add it, right? So we want to do labels dot add a new default label which takes in a span from label start span is equal current span, and then we say span from the label start span, which adds the label, and else we can add our else statement as well. So else we can do labels dot add pass case label, which takes in a label start span like that. And then here, so if it's a default case, we add the label and then we say if, wait, where does it actually throw the error? Where does it actually say there's an error? Is it default comma? Wait, I thought that was fine. Wait, this one's valid? Oh, this one's valid. Invalid, I mean. It was like this. It's invalid, valid. Huh. Okay. Sure. So right, because I guess you can have, like, if you're not doing like this, are you? You're doing this. No. I'm mistaken how switch cases work. So you actually only have one case, right? So I'm doing this wrong. Yes. I'm doing this wrong. So if that has to be the last because the switch statement falls through all the cases and reaches the default. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm doing this completely wrong. This needs to be while next is any dot. No, not dot, comma. Comma. And actually, we can match a comma. So what we have to say then This is actually very complicated in that case. That kind of throws everything off. So can I do this? Oh. Okay, so default doesn't have to be the last label, but it has to be before, no, it has to be after a case. It can't be present before a case. So we have, well, in that case, we need to know what we're starting with. So I need to do this. I need to do this here, right? So that way I know we have a default case. If this is a default case, then we know that, right? Then what I can do, and that won't work because now we don't know where it starts. So let's do span start is equal label start is equal current span, like that, and then label start is equal current span. I guess not actually, because, well, no, this is the rule start. This is the rule start, and then here we have a label start. Like that. Let's have a you know what we can do actually? We can do next is any, and then what we can do is we can expect any, and we can say default or case keyword expected for switch rule. I don't know exactly what it says, but that's what I'm going to say for the error message for now. That means I can just say default case. I'll put them the other way around just because that's the way around they have to be, but it doesn't really matter. So then I could just say default case okay, so then we expect any. So what I could do is I could do expect any dot type is equal default, which is kind of weird, but like sure. Like that's a very long method. How can I do this to make this reasonable? Like that, I guess. And say like that. No, if I do like this, like that, that's like better, I think. So what we can do now, oh, that blinded me. I just need to have the stream up on my other monitor because I just realized I don't have the stream up. I kind of need it up just in case YouTube tells me the bitrate is dying, which it's not, which is good actually. Yep, stream health is good. Lovely. So this is complicated. So we have a default case, or we know what the case statement is. So then what we can do is we can try and read what we have. So if the next is a default, then we need to handle this differently. What happens if I do default, comma, default? Interesting. You know what's interesting is that the error is on the comma, that's confusing to me because it's saying colon or that was expected, but here it doesn't say that, which I'm guessing is because it must be parsing it differently. Like, these must be, like, physically parsed differently. Right? Case default. Yeah. Why can you do that, by the way? I feel like you shouldn't be able to do that. Can I do this? Okay. You know what's the crazy thing is that IntelliJ doesn't even give you a warning for that. I would highly expect IntelliJ to have a warning for that. That's kind of crazy that it doesn't. So what's happening here in that case is, okay, let me do this. So case default, and then, so that's valid. Okay, and then I can have case, no, I can have default, which is invalid. So I think what we need to do in that case is we need to parse these separately, right? So what I'm going to do is, if this is a default case, right, so that means this entire rule, it needs to be parsed differently. So if is default case, then I'm gonna do it's the label that's default, right? Yes. Okay. So, oops, I didn't mean to get rid of that. I do want that back. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return I don't want to return though. I'm gonna do I guess the question is, do I want to add invalid case statements to the list of labels, or should I just disregard any invalid case statements? Probably want to add them, right? I'm guessing. Or should I just pass them and then synchronize? Because I could just pass them and then synchronize, which would just ignore them. Okay, one thing to note though, that this is only in the else statement, so this is only if it's not a default case. I don't know how I want to do this. I think there's lots of ways that I could do this. The question is, how do I want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna add them. I'm gonna add them to the labels. But then I'm just gonna Yes, I'm going to add them. And then report an error if it fails. But I won't synchronize because I still want to be able to pass the block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, where's the list? Labels. Okay, so labels.add a new default label, which will be a span from rule start. You know what I could do actually? I can keep this, right? I can keep this around, and then I can just say, if or can I keep this around? It's weird that IntelliJ gives the error on the comma. I guess if the error's on the comma, then I can't keep that around. That has to say in an else statement. So what I can say is while no, I can't do while. I have to do while with an if statement. I think. No, I have to do if next is any, comma. Then I have to do while match, comma. I have to report an error. Do I have to advance first? I forgot how that works. What error? What error at current. So current would be not the comma. So I have to advance. No, I have to advance here. Advance. Report error. And I have to say, I don't know. What does Copilot want me to say? Default label must be the last label in a switch rule. No. No, that's not correct. No. This is actually really hard to phrase. Default. No. What does IntelliJ say? Unexpected token. Okay, so sure, I will just say colon or this. What's the name of the IDE he's currently working on? I'm currently working on Railroad, and I'm working on Railroad in IntelliJ. Is the answer to your question. So do if next is any, that's fine though. That's not a problem. Expect any case or default keyword. No, don't care about that. So what I want is while match comma. I want to pass a case, right? Wait, can I do this? No. You know what the hardest part about this is going to be? The hardest part about this is actually just going to be getting the right error messages. And getting them in the right places. Parsing it isn't too bad, it's just about getting those error messages where they need to be. Because I just find it weird that IntelliJ has the error on the comma. Like, that's really throwing me off. Because I feel like that's not where it should be. Because the thing is, if I do this... Oh, interesting. That's very interesting. How the hell have they done that? Does that mean it tries to parse this as another default statement? Is this another default label? I guess so. You know, we can have a look. Because we have the PSI viewer. If I go here, label statement. Okay, so we have default, then we have an error. Right. Comma, white space. IntelliJ just swallows it. IntelliJ just errors the first one, and then I guess it just ignores the next one. Unexpected token, comma. This is weird. Oh, I see. I was correct. So it's passed it as two different labels. So it's saying that this is a label. It's saying this is a label. And it's saying this is a label. Rather than saying this is a label. But I guess it would have to do that anyways, right? If it starts with a case, then it's passed differently, but it's not passed differently. That's the thing. Like, it's fundamentally not passed differently because I can still do this. And it's still, this is fine. The issue is the comma. So the error needs to be reported at the comma. Why does case beans, comma, default, comma, high even make sense? It seems to me that default should be the last statement in that list since high is already handled by the default case. I think switch expressions don't actually run in the order you have them. I guess. I think. If I do this. Oh, interesting. Default label not allowed here. Default can only be used as a single case label or paired only with null. What? What? Wait. What? Default label not allowed here. Default can only be used as a single case label or paired only with null. What are these saying? Switch label beans is unreachable. Switch label high is unreachable. So it's saying I can do case null, comma default. Correct? If I comment this out. Null is unreachable. Right, no, oh, okay, the unreachable stuff is fine. That's because we don't know what this is. Right? Well, it knows what this is, but we're saying that we don't know what the, that's fine. So you can't do this. Okay, we're getting different error messages because we have errors, right? So, like if I uncomment all of these, we're getting different error messages because we have different things up here. And I'm guessing some of them are syntactic errors and some of them are semantic errors, right? So, I think because we have default cases here, it's not complaining about the default here, but then why is it not complaining about the default there? That doesn't make any sense. One second. Can I do... So, you can do this though, right? No. But you can do... So can I do... Huh. So there's no way to have like a default and something. Like you can't do that. Like that's just not... There's no way to do that. If a case starts with a keyword default and not the keyword case, then it can't have any more arguments. Only default or defaults. If a case starts with a default and not case, then it can't have any... yes. Yes. And then in the other way round, in a case statement, you can only have null, comma default. You can't have that. You can have that. So you can have that. So can you do that? So can you do that? Wait, let me get rid of this. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's because of this one that was throwing that. So you can't do this. But you can do this. Okay. We're getting confused because we're getting different errors because of different errors. Because if I do this, right, that gives us an error. But if I do this, we no longer get an error there, we get an error here. As for why it's like that, I don't know. That could even be a bug with IntelliJ. The unreachable warning is there because you passed. Yeah. The unreachable warning is fine. I don't care about that. That shouldn't be the problem here. The confusion is with the errors themselves, right? Because the error you can see is here on the comma. But if I comment this out, the error becomes there. And likewise, if I go the other way round, the error stays here. I think that's probably a bug. I don't think it's meant to be like that. Case null comma default is possible. Any other case cannot contain the word default. Yeah. So this begs the question. How the hell do we pass this? Okay, in the case that there is it starts with a default, then you can't do anything, right? So like, that's not possible. Is this possible? No, that's not possible. That's not possible. So in fact, all of these are invalid, aren't they? The only one that's not invalid here is this one. Yes. Valid. Yeah. None of these other ones are valid. Right, this one isn't. This one isn't valid, is it? No. So if this is a default case, right? So it starts with the word default. We can add a default label. Nice and simple, right? If the next keyword is a comma, then we report an error saying it should have been a colon or one of these. And we do that for each of the commas. So once we've reported the error, then what we need to do is we need to have some way to... Let me bring Copilot back. Oh, I have Copilot. Where are you at, Copilot? I thought you'd love to join in on this one. Nope, Copilot's too scared. Okay. So ideally, what we need to do is we need to synchronize. So while we're not... is that end? No. How do we synchronize? Synchronize. So we synchronize to the default sync set, which is empty. Okay, this should really be overridden, I think, because I don't think that's going to work. But we'll come back to that. So I think we want there. But we synchronize to set dot of comma, I think. And then if we're not at the end, we advance. Is that correct? You know, guys, I'm kind of tempted to just cheat and ask ChatGPT to do this part for me, because I feel like I'm going to get loads of edge case errors with this one. Shall I cheat? Because this is... Okay, let me get rid of this, because I think I understand that this is like... This is fine. I understand this now, because this is fine. You can have a case null. That's the only instance in where you can have a default after a case statement. Ever. You can only ever do that. Can't do this. Yeah, can't do any of these. You can do this. You can do this. Those are fine. That's just patterns, and then that's whatever. That's null. And then you can also have constants as well. Like, so in an enum you could have beans. That's fine. So those are all good. Now, rather than trying to fix this, I'm going to cheat. Yeah, I am going to cheat. Switch. Okay, I'm cheating right now. I think if sat here for a while, we could probably figure this out. But I feel like I'm just going to end up with a bunch of little edge cases where it wouldn't pass correctly. I mean, the important thing in reality is the error reporting, ensuring that it reports the errors at the correct places. What it actually has outside of that is kind of irrelevant. It just needs to tell the user that there's an error at the right place. Let me see. Okay, ChatGPT might be completely off the rails, actually. I love that your food bar is beans. I mean, beans, man. It's a much better food bar. Okay, do you want me to show you guys what ChatGPT has come up with? Here we go. So, it's given me the JLS. So case labels are constant, a null, a pattern. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, you have when as well. I forgot about when. I've never used when, but it's like an if statement inside a switch statement, right? So you can do like switch. I don't even know how it works actually, because I've never done it before, but I know that is a thing. We'll come back to that. And then rule body, that's fine. I don't care about any of this, to be honest. I just want it to be able to pass the rule itself. So let's see what it is. It's added comments as well. That's helpful. We got our labels, case or default. So it's kept that. So that was correct. I thought you'd have to have that. If it's the default, then it adds a default label. Default cannot be followed by more labels in a rule, so we tolerate it an error. So we synchronize to a comma or an arrow. I don't think this is correct either, right? So what about colon? What about colon? Okay, let's see what it's done in the else state, in the else case. So in this case, we have it's a case statement, so it's case something, right? So this is in a do while loop. While we match a comma, that's fine. If the next is a default keyword, disallow default here. Only case default exists in classic switch. It does? Or is it lying to me? I think it's gaslighting me, right? Yes, it is gaslighting me. Oh, but look, we get a different error message. The label for the default case must only use the default keyword without case. Interesting. I think that's a semantic error though. Oops. I just got to bring that back. I think that's a semantic error. I don't imagine that could be although I guess here it's although it's saying this, it's saying that case default exists in classic switch, but it's not allowing it. It's not, it's actually just, it's saying it's allowed, but it's not allowing it, which is kind of funny. But anyways, so if it's a default keyword, it reports an error and then advances. That's fine. And then it adds a default label. Yeah, that's fine. So then it says if the next is a null literal, then we advance, add a case null. Else if it looks like a pattern, we'll come back to. I think this is actually correct, though I'm not sure about this. To be honest, this doesn't seem correct. Yeah. But I think all I need to do here is I just need to add in a colon, and then I think that'll be fine. So I was actually really close, like really close. I'm kind of not even gonna have to use what it's given me. So where we were at is here, right? So colon or dash expected. Now it has actually given me a better error message, admittedly, which is default cannot be combined with other labels in a switch rule, which is a better error message, admittedly. It's got rid of this and it's changed this to be colon, and well, it hasn't done colon, but we're gonna want colon, and then arrow, which is that one. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Can I get rid of you, please? Thank you. And then it's got the while match comma. That's fine. Else we have our case labels. So we have do, we get the span. If the next is a default keyword, then I'm going to copy what it's done. Like that. This is just label start. And then that's it. Everything else we can kind of do ourselves, right? Yes, everything else we can do ourselves. So what we can do is let's have a continue, and then let's do let's do case keyword. No. Wait, can you have a case keyword in a normal switch statement? You know, it's been so long since I've used a normal switch statement that I don't even know anymore. No, I think it's still like this, right? Yeah, it's still like that. You can't do like that. If I could type, you can't. Yeah, you can't do that. Expression pattern default or null. Yeah. You can't do that. So what we want to do is we just want to return pass case label, and then we'll create that in a second. So we're gonna come back to this, and we're instead gonna do the actual body. So we expect any, yeah, colon or that, which is a colon or an arrow. That's correct. That's fine. Then we have statement body. Do we just want to pass a statement or not? I don't think so, because if we have a switch expression, like if I do case null and I do this, I can't just do Oh, I can. Why is this erroring? Oh, because it needs a default branch. Right. And I can do that, can't I? And then I can do that. And then I can also do that. Okay. So yes, I'm just passing a statement then. That's fine. Because a statement, as we recall from earlier, can be a block. So that's fine. So we pass the body. Yep. And then we just return. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Next, we have a case label. So let's actually do this then. So switch rule, blah, blah, blah. No. What? Wait. Wait. No. This is not correct. This needs to be labels.add pass case label, which will return a case label. Now, why does this take in the labels? I don't know. Is the question? Good question. I don't know. I love returning, then returning to crash out over the error. What? My brain cannot comprehend what you just said. You love returning, then returning to crash out. Yeah, I cannot put 2 and 2 together, I can't lie. I have no idea what you just said. Okay. Damn it. Keep friggin' closing things. Okay. Case label. So it's just a list of case items. Finally, I see you can help me, and if we can get to on Discord call if possible. Probably not possible to answer your question, but if you need help, specifically modding help, you can join the Discord, which is linked in the description down below, and you can join the modding, or you can go to the modding channel and you can make a post and you will probably get help in there. But I personally don't have time to sit in a call with people and help that way. I wish I did. I do not. I have way too many other things to do. But you'll probably get help if you ask in the help channel, realistically. Unless it's some crazy thing that no one knows how to do, in which case I probably can't help you either. So is Copilot correct? I think it is actually kinda. Yeah, so it's correct at the start. So we have a case null. So if we hit a null, which is kind of actually a keyword, but oh well. And then if it's not null, if it's not null, we have 3 other options. It could be a pattern, or it could be a constant, or it could be an expression, I think. Is that correct? Case item. So we have constant, pattern, null. Okay, that's not correct. I'm missing an expression. Am I not? Oh, I've done a constant as an expression, which is not correct, actually. Or is it? No. Right. 1 second. Let's have a look at the JLS again. What am I doing? What am I doing? I am doing this. So okay, I'll bring the JLS over so you guys can see what I'm looking at. So you have a case constant, then you have a case null. Then you have a case pattern, and then default. So what is that case constant then? It's a conditional expression. But no. But it's not, though. Right? Because conditional or expression, conditional and expression, inclusive expression, exclusive expression, and expression, equality expression, relational expression, shift expression, additive, unary, postfix, cast, switch. No. Postfix. Name. Identifier. Postfix expression. 1 second. Postfix expressions include the postfix plus operators and minus operators. Names are not considered to be primary expressions, but are handled separately in the grammar to avoid certain ambiguities. They become interchangeable only here at the level of precedence of postfix expressions. I guess a name is an expression, isn't it? It is. It is technically an expression. I'm on the Discord, but I can't really specify what my problem. What is my problem? So I need to chat with someone who does have more experience than me. You can't specify your problem? An assessment. It's a little bit sus. Very suspicious. Why can you not specify your problem? If you cannot specify your problem, that either means one of two things. It means A, you don't understand what your own problem is, or B, the more likely scenario, is that it is something you do not want people to see. Neither of which are generally a good thing. Hi, my best streamer. Hello. I'm not even going to try and say your name because I will butcher it and then offend a lot of people. So, but hello. Moving on. Okay, anyways. So what are we doing here? Well, if we match... We just need to match an expression, I guess. So if we match an identifier, an int, a boolean, a char, a string, or a floating point... No, you can't do that. You can't do that, right? Because you can't have switch. You can't switch on a number, right? You can't do like this, right? Oh, you can. You can switch. Oh, you can switch on an int. Can I do this? No. But you can do that. Switch label int 5.0 is the only reachable in the whole switch. Am I crazy, or is that not valid English? Switch label and then blah 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 is the only reachable in the whole switch. That's not valid English. This is not correct English. Is the only reachable. The only reachable what? Obviously it means the only reachable label, but it would have to say the only reachable label. Unless it was like is the only label that is reachable. Yeah, but it needs to say that. It has to say switch label is the only label that is reachable, or the only reachable label. Anyways, I'm getting hung up on something that does not matter whatsoever. The fact is, you can't do floats. So this is incorrect, right? What are the different kinds? So you've got a constant, pattern, and a null. So a constant is an expression. We've handled nulls, so it's a matter of switching between an expression and a pattern. Patterns are kind of hard though, right? So when ChatGPT made the thing for me, it used looks like pattern start, which I guess is just a method it's made. It's text for a type followed by an identifier. But the problem with that is it can have modifiers, because you can have switch and then you can do case at not null final string my string, right? So we have to be able to figure that out. Now you can't do, am I correct in saying you can't do final at not null? You can. Damn it. I was going to look for an annotation, but I guess that doesn't work. Pass modifier. I have this method, right? So if it's at and interface, then it breaks. If it's an at, then it does that. Can't you do final at not null in a normal var too? Yeah, I think you can. It's weird though. I don't know why you would ever do that, but you can, yeah. So while it looks ahead and it's a modifier, or it's an at. But I can just use this method, I believe. And that'll be for, oops, god freaking damn it. Closing things. So I think what I can do is I can just do a list of modifiers is equal new array list. List of annotations is equal new array list. Pass both of those. And then what I can do is I can say if modifiers is empty and annotations is empty, then we can pass an expression, right? In that case, it's a constant. In the else statement, it's a pattern. So, how do patterns, how are they defined? Pattern, oh, and they have a guard. Oh, God. Okay. So, okay. What we can do is return pass pattern case item, which takes the start, the modifiers, the annotations. Right. Okay, yes, that will work. So let's do that. And this will be a pattern. Is it just a pattern? No. Case pattern. Case pattern. There you go. Okay, so then it takes the type, the identifier, creates a name, and then it goes the guard. The guard is using when, though, not if, right? And then it's an expression, is that correct? So it's just a, yeah. Oh my god, I'm gonna try your thing. Control E. Wow. What the hell is going on over there? Okay. Wait, what did I just close? This? No, what did I just close? This? Yes, this. Okay. So then, case pattern, which takes in what? The pattern. So a new pattern. Pattern, oh god. Oh, I knew patterns were going to be a pain in the butt. As soon as I started this pattern stuff, when I wrote this freaking AST node, I knew they were going to be a pain in the butt. And wow, they really are. Holy moly. So we have a match all pattern, we have a record pattern, and we have a type test pattern. Okay. So we can't create the pattern here. Let's have a look at these patterns. So a match all pattern is what? Just a span. What is a match all pattern? Match all pattern. Here we go. This is a Java 23 thing. That makes sense because I've never heard of it. What is a match all pattern? Java match all pattern. String, no, switch expressions. Not helpful. Okay. Let me bring this up and go back. Switch expressions. Here we go. And not helpful. Scope for pattern variables in case labels. This? No. That's the same thing. What's this? Switch block, switch rule, switch case pattern. Here we go. Which is a pattern. Which... oh god. Is a type pattern. Record pattern. So what's a type pattern? Is just a variable declaration. Okay. So a record pattern is a type followed by an open parenthesis. So what is a match all pattern? What? I'm so confused. Wait, where is component pattern used? Component pattern list. I see, and that goes inside that? But a match all pattern. Oh, that's an underscore. It's an underscore. Okay. Okay. So, in that case, I have a question. Or do I? Type, do I? Type variable. I do, yes, I do have a question. My question is, can you only have modifiers and annotations in type patterns? Let's have a look. So basically what I'm saying is, can I do switch on, we'll just say null for now, and do case, what should we go with? Span, sure, right? Span. Can I do at not null? Yes. Now, in that case, can I do int start? No. Int I, int j, int k, int l. And now this can't have at not null. And it can't have final. Interesting. So, kind of helps us, I think. Because does that help us? That is a mighty question. I think if we match a type reference... but it's not a type reference, is it? No, it is. Wait, is it? Yes, because it can be a qualified name. Right, it could be like... case pattern. Right? Which is a qualified name because it has a dot. So either way, in fact, you know what? If there's a list of modifiers, so if there's any modifiers or any annotations, that means it has to be a type test pattern. It has to be. It can't be a record pattern, and it can't be a match all pattern because we can't do like underscore. We can't do at not null, you know, final underscore. That just doesn't make sense. So, which is why it's done this, I think. I'm going to move this into its own method, I think. Let's take this, extract method, which will be parse guard. Let's just check this is correct. So we get the guard. If match when keyword, no, that's not correct. That needs to be here. If match when keyword, then we take the expression and it's equal to a new guard, which is from the start. This can just be start. This can be expression as well, just to simplify this a little bit. Yeah, and then that gets that. So then what I can do is if modifiers dot is not empty, or annotations is not empty, then what I can do is I can do this. Then I can say that the guard is equal parse guard, and then I can return the pattern. So it'll take the span, the test, and the guard, like that. Okay, in the else statement, so if this is not true, where is this used, by the way? See, this isn't the case. This is not true. Because it could be a friggin' record. Could be a friggin' record pattern. I think that has to be the final statement, right? So like down here we're doing this, I think. I just closed that again. What did I just close? This? Yes. This also isn't passing that, right? Oh no, I guess it is. It is. Okay. The important thing is that we've handled... Well, I guess we've only handled if it has a modifier. Right? Because we can still do string my number. And in that case, it's still a type test pattern. It just doesn't have any modifiers. Also, wait, this isn't taking in the modifiers. Damn it, doing that. Stop doing that. Wait. Modifiers. They're not being used. Order of type. Yeah, see, that shouldn't just have a type. It also needs the list of modifiers, or a list of annotation. I guess it doesn't really matter. Annotations, and also a list of modifiers, right? Like that. So then, before we add the type, we want to add the annotations and the modifiers. Yeah. Oops, come back. So then in here, I can pass in annotations, modifiers. Okay. I guess, no, I guess that's correct, actually. Because that's a separate thing. Okay. What we could do to simplify this a little bit is say pattern, and then in here I can say that pattern is equal to this, and then this takes in pattern, and then all I need to do at the very bottom is do that. Now I can actually just get rid of that because that's super simple anyways. And then all I have to do is have an else statement. Else pattern is equal parse pattern, and then we'll create a method to handle that. Which is going to be a real pain in the butt, man. This really is going to be a pain in the butt. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Again. And I'm gonna ask specifically what it thinks about patterns, because I don't know how to differentiate between like how do you differentiate between a record and an expression? I guess because I can't look for an identifier, because it could be a fully qualified name, right? I guess I could create a marker and then roll back, possibly. So like what I could do is I could do a marker, what am I doing? Marker, oh my god, what am I doing? Record pattern marker, right? Let's get the current span first of all. And then let's say we try and pass a type reference. Right? Is that correct? And then if next is any open parameter, then we commit, expect it. Pass pattern whilst it matches a comma. Copilot might actually be onto something here. We might not even need ChatGPT after all. Then expects a close wing parenthesis. And then an optional name? You have a name? Span int I j. Sure, fine. I1 int I2 I3. Can I give this a name? No, I don't think so. Not sure what is on about that. But I need to do something here, right? I need to, after the closing parenthesis, I need to just return a new record pattern. Should I take in? Don't like that. Let's just take in that. Oh no, I keep freaking closing it. Getting on my nerves, man. Type components optional.empty. So that's the record pattern, which is just check that's correct. So type components. This has an optional of a name. That's not correct, right? You can't have a name. I'm going to check the JLS again. The record pattern. A reference type and then a list. Yeah, you can't have a name. So that's incorrect. This shouldn't be there. So I'm not going to close it. I'm not going to close it. Boom. Okay, so that's record patterns handled. Here we roll back. If type is an instance of a wildcard type ref. No. No. Right? What does this do if it fails? Ah, fuck. It expects an identifier. Why does this happen? Next token is Oh no. It needs it to be an identifier. Because otherwise it freaking reports an error. Are errors actually now that I think about it, let me find where I was again. I think rollback clears the errors, right? Rollback.restore, that restores the Lexa, but it also needs to do the errors. It needs to do, what does report error do real quick? Report error diagnostics.add. Is it sync? Yeah, that should be fine actually. But question, does it clear the diagnostics? That's the important thing. Marker rollback. No. Wait. Exit.restore. It really should though, shouldn't it? It should do diagnostics. I guess this doesn't have the diagnostics though. I guess I can make it do that. Final list of diagnostic. And then have a list of diagnostics like that. And then just do diagnostics.clear, diagnostics.add all diagnostics copy. And then I just need to fix here where this is created to add in that. Now this has a clone method, but this doesn't have a clone method, so that's fine though. So now that means when I roll back, even though this will have reported an error, it will be fine. Because we're going to roll back to where it was before. I think that should be fine. So what's the next best bet? Good question. I mean, actually, it should pass a type reference anyways, right? Now that I think about it. I think actually no matter what, because even if it's not a record pattern, that means that it's a, I guess that means it's a match all pattern. So wait, am I crazy? No, that's not correct. What am I missing? I'm missing Chat, what am I missing? Why am I getting confused right now? Something is wrong. There was a whole reason this method was extremely complicated, and now I'm not sure what it was. Oh, it's the type test. Type test, yes. Okay. What I can do is... Yes. Okay. So if, else if, I don't really want an, well, I kind of don't like this. I'd like that to be inside of parse pattern. Because I don't want that to be separate. Because that means that every single time I ever want to parse a pattern, I have to have a separate check for if it has modifiers and an annotation and annotations. So I don't want to do that. Where am I calling this again? Here. I think I should not do this. I should get rid of this. And then inside of parse pattern, I should do this. And then do this. And then say pattern is equal to parse pattern. And then here I can say if those are not empty, then we can just return this, right? The other thing I can say is if next is any, or if match underscore, then return a new match all pattern, which is a span from the start. And then here, if it's an open parenthesis, then it does this, which is fine. But if it's not an open parenthesis, so we get back to here, we can still use the type reference because we know it's now a type test. So we actually just return a type test pattern, which has no modifiers, no annotations, and it has the type. Now this has a variable in it. Is that correct? I guess we want to check for that, right? Yes, we need this, in fact. So that will have a name. Can it not have a name? It has to have a name, right? Can a type test not have a name? I guess it doesn't have to have a name. Optional of name, variable. If next is any identifier, then variable is equal optional dot of, which takes in the name, and then I can just pass that in there, like that. I'm going to close my window real quick so we don't get the bugs. Is my headphone cable long enough today? Yes, it is. Let's get some lights on as well. So, I think we're done with switch statements, right? I get rid of this. Pass pattern case, which happens here, which happens here, which happens here. It's quite a lot of nesting. Affects colon or arrow, passes the body. Pass switch rule happens here, so if it's default or case, then it adds switch rules. Pass switch statements. I think that's it. That is it. Okay. Whew. Wow. How long did that take us? How long did that take? That must have been about an hour and a half, right? Okay. While statements. Luckily, so incredibly much simpler. Like, it's actually shocking how much simpler this is going to be. A long time, bro. It was a long time, I know. But too long? I mean, I don't... Switch statements are hard, man. There's a lot going on. You have to take that into account. There's a lot going on with switch statements. You know what the crazy thing is? We're going to have to do it all again for switch expressions, but we'll come back to that. So it's one keyword per string. No, no, that would take that would take a very long time. No, it's thankfully not, because boom, we've just done the while statement. Well, Copilot did the while statement, but it's just an if statement, right? A while statement is just an if statement. So that one's nice and simple. Next we have pass do while statement, which is pretty much the same. The only difference is that we pass the do first, right? So we're going to pass a block. So expected do keyword, pass the body, expect while keyword, expect open parenthesis, expect condition, expect close parenthesis, expect semicolon. Yep, that's it. Do whiles are nice and simple as well. Oh no. I knew this would come eventually. Okay. 4 statements. I think we'll come back to 4 statements. Yeah, we'll come back to those. We'll come back to them. Because those are going to be a pain in the butt. I don't want to do that right now. I really don't want to do that right now. Because there's obviously 2 different types of for loops, right? You have an iterable for loop. So, you know, for I is equal 0, I is less than blah, 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 I plus plus. And then you have a for, you know, A in B. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard, but it's just like the... Should we do it? Should we do it? We have 40 minutes. Do you think we can do it in 40 minutes? Or, well, 37 minutes. I think so. You know, fuck it, chat. Let's do it. Fuck it, bro, do it. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing it. Now, I don't think I have a for statement necessarily, because I actually do. Do they extend? No. So ideally what I need is just a class, which is an interface, which is just a for statement, which extends AST node. And can I make this sealed? Which must permit basic for statement and enhanced for statement. And now I just need to go into these and implement for statement and implements for statement. Okay. Okay, and then that just means that this method can return a generic for statement, which won't really matter, but okay. First things first, span. We need to know where this starts at. Then we need to get the keyword. So we expect to have a for keyword. And Mr. Copilot can hopefully write me a nice little error message. Sure, I guess that works. And then we also will expect a open parenthesis. So open parenthesis. Once again, Copilot can write me a little bit of a message. Maybe? Hello? Copilot? Okay, that took a hot minute. Now. Either way, well, let's have a look at something real quick. If I do this, I is less than 5. Can I annotate this? Yes. Can I do this? Yes. Okay. That's really helpful, because what that means is that we can pass the annotations, we can pass the modifiers, and we can pass the type preference and the name of the variable, right? Or can we? No, we can't. Because actually, I'm just thinking, we can have like int ABC, right? And we can do ABC. You can do that, right? No? Well, bugger. We do my freaking headphones, man. Bro, my hair is so weird today. I don't know what's up with it. Bro, hello, hair? Can you fix yourself, please? Okay, sure, whatever. How do we do this? Wait, can you do that for a for each loop? Can I let me have a list of integer, whatever, sure, ints. And I do ints.for. Can I assume I can annotate this. Yes. Ah, fuck. That really complicates things. The problem is, it has to be, so for a for I loop, it has to be a statement. But it could be any statement, right? Is that correct? I guess no. I guess it can't be any statement. It has to be a variable declaration, right? So it would have to be a parse variable declarator or declarator. And it has to have an initializer, I think. The thing with this is it doesn't have annotations. Let me look at like down here. If I look at the basic for statement, this just has an optional of a statement. So I'm going to cheat again, chat. Well, kind of. I'm just going to ask ChatGPT how I can differentiate between a for statement and an enhanced for statement. I'm not going to get it to write any code whatsoever. I just want to know how it thinks I should differentiate them, since they are kind of the same, which is the problem, right? When do you expect IDE to be ready for 1.0? You know, I originally wanted to say, like, kind of when I started up Railroad again, I originally wanted to say by the end of the year. But I don't know. See, I still think that's possible. Like theoretically, there is a world in which it could be in a releasable state by the end of the year. But I think the parser is, and this whole like Java parsing stuff is gonna throw that for a loop. I don't think that's gonna be ready by the end of the year. So okay, what I expect to have by the end of the year for certain is a public beta. I want to have a public beta by the end of the year, right? Something people can try and use, but won't be like any kind of replacement. I want to have by the end of the year, I want you to be able to run the game. I want it to be compilable to some extent, maybe not every single Java language feature. We'll see, right? Okay, so I want you to be able to create files. I want you to be able to edit files and then run it. And maybe something else, but I don't know what else. Project creation. I want project creation and I want it to be decent. Because right now it's really bad. It's actually kind of a big problem. I am kind of working on fixing that, kind of, but it's a pain in the butt. What features is it gonna have? Like the main ones? I have a list somewhere. Where do I have a list? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I'm trying to think. Where's the... I have a list of things. Oh, I know where it is. 1 second. Let's see if I can find it. So... that's kind of not... Okay, kind of. Okay, so... on my website... never mind, that's not the stream monitor anymore. On my website, I do have a page for railroad. This is very outdated, so don't expect this to stay here. But it does cover the features that I want. So it supports all your favorite modding frameworks. Obviously, this is not necessarily going to be the case. I suspect we will drop Forge and drop Quilt. And Architecture is a maybe. And then Spigot, Bucket, Paper are probablys. Bungee Cord and Velocity are probably going to be dropped. So these three and Fabric and Neoforge are the plan regarding this. So this is a little bit out. This is kind of very outdated actually, but it kind of covers the features I want. And then enhanced warning and error messages. So yes, this is still true. So it wants warnings and errors that are specific to Minecraft modding. That is definitely something we're going to have. 3D model editor, yes, that's still going to be the case. Whether or not we embed Blockbench, I don't know. We have to create our own browser to do that, so that's a maybe in terms of how it works. But yes, this will be the case. Integrated text editor, yes. Someone's actually working on that right now, or at least started working on it. I don't know what the progress is, but this is definitely happening. JSON files with a visual editor. So I was thinking something along the lines of, I really shouldn't open my normal browser here, just in case, you never know what pops up. I was thinking of something like Misode, right? So you can go in here and like you get a whole loot table thing, but obviously inside the IDE. And there's obviously other ones in there, like recipes, world gen, biomes, all that stuff. I think something like that would be cool to have, even though obviously most people are using data gen. It's a nice to have kind of thing. I just closed that. I didn't. Oh no, never mind. I have it on a different thing. So that's definitely something I would quite like. And then mix-ins. Yes, we're going to do a bunch of mix-in stuff, but I'm not going to get into that. GUI builder, that is being worked on, kind of. I don't know if Yoda is still working on it, but that's going to be a thing we have as well. So you'll literally design the GUI in the IDE, and then it will give you like the code for it, kind of. Yeah, it'll give you like a snippet for it. Is how that's going to work. Get integration. I mean, of course, I don't actually know why I put this on here, but yes, it kind of already has Git integration. Just not like full integration. I forgot I added this one. Originally I wanted to have it so it would show you daily modding and Java tips. I don't know if we're gonna do that. I'm not creative enough to come up with different ones. But maybe, I don't know, if people can think of tips to come up with, then let me know and we can compile a little list of them. And that can be something. Embedded wiki and tutorials, yes. So what I want to do is I want to embed the community wikis, so that'll be Fabric docs, Neoforge docs. Those will be like directly in your IDE, so you can just have a tab that will be those wikis. I don't know, maybe you can add custom wikis as well for like mods and stuff. And then also my tutorials are going to be embedded in the IDE as well. And then also I'll have to speak to Corpin about this. I haven't yet, but maybe I will embed his as well. I haven't talked to him about that yet though, so don't go, confirming anything. But yes, that'll just be directly in the IDE as well. And then, yeah, obviously fully customizable. So you just write your own CSS and you can completely change how it works. That's already a thing. You can already do that right now. That's 100% working. That's all I had. But there are other things I want. So an audio visualizer for like sounds and stuff. I think that would be kind of essential. What else? Does anyone know what else? I've probably said somewhere other things that I can't think of. Oh, does this link to the actual website or not? No, it doesn't. But I can do this. This has yeah, this doesn't really have anything. I think actually I think Yoda might have wrote this. But that's not really like it doesn't really say anything. We have the installation guide. Oh, does this have the 1 second? This is completely unrelated, by the way. I'm just curious if it has building and running. No. Okay. This is meant to be 2 separate pages now, but still, ignore that. There's other things as well. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know, because I'm sure you guys are better at coming up with ideas than I am. But yeah, we have a bunch of ideas. I just haven't written down a lot of them, so someday I will do that. I'm just very lazy. I haven't actually done it yet. Run button, yes. There will obviously be a run button. Run button is actually kind of trivial to do. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to have right now. Well, it kind of does. I mean, someone can do it if they want, because it is genuinely very easy to do. Like, you would just have a list of like run configs, which would just run a command in the terminal, basically. I mean, that's pretty trivial. But I understand that working on your own is so cool, but you need to deliver something combative, not new intelligent plugin, and be realistic about your goal. You can't create a 10 mil product. I'm fully aware of that. Like, I know we're not gonna make IntelliJ, right? It's just not happening. But, and this is a very big but. Okay, very big but. We're gonna make something, hopefully, on I don't want to say on par with IntelliJ, but something that is competitive in some way, right? There's going to be a reason to use Railroad over IntelliJ. That's what I want. That's the plan, basically. The entire plan is that there'll be a reason you would choose to use Railroad instead of IntelliJ, and not for just general Java, of course, because you know we're not going to be able to have the ecosystem that IntelliJ has. It's just not. It's not the plan. It's not the vision. You know, there's no need. We're not going to beat IntelliJ. It's not going to happen. You know, maybe in 50 years it becomes better than IntelliJ if it works on for that long, but it's not the plan to do that. I don't expect that to happen. And to be honest, I don't expect every single modder to even adopt Railroad, right? I think that would be an unrealistic expectation. Not every modder uses IntelliJ, right? Some of them use Eclipse, some use VS Code. It is, you know, you can't get everyone. But the plan is just to make something that has a benefit over IntelliJ, and as you just said, it's cool, right? It's a cool project to work on. I've already had a lot of people interested in the project who have DM'd me and stuff. Even on a job interview, I got questioned a lot about it. So it's a cool thing to work on, even if nothing else. But yes, we're not trying to compete with IntelliJ, to be completely clear, so that everyone is completely clear on that. But this is not a competitor to IntelliJ. This is something that will hopefully be better at Minecraft modding than IntelliJ. That's the goal, so we're clear. Anyways, like when you add only one more guy to the team, you're going to be so much more productivity. A team of 2 can produce 3 to 4 times more than one guy on his own. Yes, that is true, and that is why I wanted to get a community kind of thing out there. However, that kind of hasn't gone to plan because I realized we need a text editor, like an actual Java editor, before I can do that. So hence here we are, right? Or here we are. Yeah. So that's why I haven't done that yet. But yes, obviously more people the better, right? It helps dramatically to have more people. You know, if I'm just doing this by myself, then it's going to take a really long time. But I mean, so far I will say I've done a lot of it by myself, right? But I have had a lot of help, right? Yoda Force specifically, I don't know if he's watching the stream or not, but he has helped pretty significantly with quite a few of the major systems that are in there so far. Settings, keybinds, themes. I think he did themes. And he's working on the GUI builder as well, so Yoda Force has helped a lot. Has anyone else helped a lot? I think a couple other people have helped in kind of the beginning, so a while ago, as well. So it isn't just me, but I would say I have done most of the work on it so far. I mean, obviously, I've written all of this, even if nothing else. I've written this whole friggin' Java parser. Granted, I don't expect to be able to do the whole thing by myself. I suspect someone is going to come along some point and help me out with it, but so far, no one has offered that role. But obviously, if anyone's interested in coming to help me out with this Java parser, that would be greatly appreciated. Save me a lot of time. Regardless, let's pass this friggin' for loop. We scared. It is quite scary. It's just a big task, right? You know, passing Java isn't easy, and I never said it was gonna be easy going into it, because I knew it wasn't, but it's good fun. Even if nothing else, it's a good learning experience. I have learned more about Java than I have friggin' when I started learning Java. Just from making this friggin' parser, because now I understand kind of the fundamentals of the language, of like specifics of the language, I guess, which is interesting. I wonder if anyone could learn Java by trying to parse Java. That would be interesting. Probably not. I think that would be too complicated. Anyways, finally, let's pass a for statement. Okay, Copilot, ChatGPT, I mean, might have just written a bunch of nonsense. So let's go through it. So inside the for header, there are two top level separators that matter. So you have colon for basic inits, blah blah blah, enhanced for, which is this one. So the most robust approach is scan the tokens between the opening and matching parentheses at the top level, ignoring anything nested in those for generic. Whichever delimiter you hit first at depth 0 decides the kind. I see. Okay. So what it's saying, basically, is say we have this for loop, right? Is it given an example of a for loop for me? No. Okay. Do we have a for loop somewhere? Let's write a for loop. Let's say I is less than 5. And let's write a for in A in some int array, right? What it's telling me, or what it's recommending I do, is once I reach this parenthesis, I loop over the characters, or loop over the tokens, right? So I've got an int keyword, I've got an identifier, an equals, an int literal, boom, a semicolon. So now I've reached a semicolon, we can now know for a fact that it's this type of for loop. And then it's saying in this one, I reach an int keyword, I reach an identifier, I reach a colon, boom, it's an enhanced for loop. So that's what it's recommending I do. And it's basically saying that I ignore anything inside of brackets, anything inside of those, anything inside of those, anything inside of those. I think that would be not too bad to do. We don't have long until I have to end the stream, so I don't think we're going to get this done, but we're going to try. So what we can do is, okay, let's create a marker. Search before search marker is equal mark. What's good? Have you had a nice day? I have had a fine day. I didn't really do much today. I went out for a drive. And I went for a walk, which is where I drove to. Did I do anything else today? Not really. No. Oh, I released the video tutorial today. I meant to do that last night, but I was hella tired, so I just went to sleep instead of uploading it. Did I do anything else? I don't think I've done anything else today. I've been kind of lazy, actually. I've been watching a lot of YouTube today. So, yeah. While next is any, while not next is any, semicolon. No, so what we need is we need an int depth is equal 0. And while next is not a semicolon or a colon. That's not good, not productive. I know. Yeah, I have been very unproductive. Which is actually kind of bad. Because I have a universal credit appointment tomorrow. And he asked me to do some stuff. And I haven't done the stuff. I probably need to do that. Early tomorrow morning. which is not great, but here we are. Anyways, so okay, if the next token is not a semicolon or a colon, so if it's not that, wait, what if it is that? That'd be true. And depth is greater than 0? No, and depth is less. No, and depth is equal 0. No. What am I trying to do? I don't know. What am I trying to do, chat? I don't know. I'm not gonna get this done in time. So I'm a little bit lost. My brain is just patoofed. Just gone. Let me get Big Man Chat GPT up. For int I is equal 0. Yeah, I know how to write a friggin' for loop, man. I know how to write a for loop. I just don't know how to construct, how to have this while loop. I guess I need to keep track of, like, I can't just have a depth. I need to have 4 different depths, right? I have to have like a parenthesis depth. I have to have a bracket depth. I have to have a brace depth. I have to have a angle bracket depth. Right? Let's do while we're not at the end. While is not at end, and then we'll just do the if statement inside the while loop, I think, right? So we can get the token. So token, the token type. Token is equal advance. If it's a right parenthesis, if token dot type is equal, no, actually we can just get the type, that's fine. Type, if type is equal, no, let's say if it's close parenthesis, right? Because we need to know if we're at the end of the loop, right? If we've reached, like, I've removed the for loops, but if we reach the end of the loop, right? So, and parenthesis depth is equal 0, and bracket depth is equal 0, and brace depth is equal 0, and angle depth is equal 0, then we can just return false. Let's make this a method, and then we can actually return false. So private boolean. What are we doing? Is enhanced for loop. Def is equal 0. Do these actually have to be initialized? Goddamn Java, man. Okay, then what we can do is say if we're a left parenthesis, so if type is equal left, or I think it's called open parenthesis. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do, you know, let's copilot this so we can speed this up a little bit. We're going to increment the depth, right? So parenthesis depth plus plus. And then yeah, that's fine. That's what we need to do, right? We can continue though. Else if it's a right parenthesis, we'll do that. Then we do the same for left brackets and right brackets. Then we do the same for the braces. And then we do the same for the angle brackets. If type is equal semicolon. Then we roll back, return false. Yeah, so we just need to make the marker in here. Then we can do that. If type is equal colon. We can kind of extract this, right? So we can say if this, then do this. And then if type is equal semicolon, else if type is equal colon. Boolean bound is equal true, false, I mean. And then I guess that doesn't. Never mind. That's not helpful. Okay. And then here, we just want to roll back, return false. What does this do if it's already rolled back? Nothing. Good. Okay. I mean, this should never need to happen, but you know, actually here, when we return false, we need to roll back as well. Let's just make sure that it's always going to roll back. Otherwise we could have a problemo. And then we can do boolean is enhanced. Boom. And then we can return. Oh, Copilot errored. I don't know what you were doing when the exception occurred. No. No thank you. I'd rather not. Is enhanced. Pass enhanced for loop. Pass basic for. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna end the stream here. Let me just do these. Before I end, I'm going to do the quick thing that I will otherwise forget to do. And that is to push to GitHub. So let me just make sure I save everything, because IntelliJ is sometimes a little bit weird and it doesn't actually save until you press Control S, which is weird because it should have automatic saving, but it just doesn't sometimes. Should we do a little bit of Copilot AI? Go on then. I love using it to generate commits. It saves me so much time having to try and figure out what I've done and then write it. Refactor for loop AST and parser logic. That's not great. I mean, the description does better justice. I guess that's fine. Yeah, that's fine, actually. Okay. Commit. And push. Okay. I can't believe I said I wanted to get it done today. I'm actually crazy. I completely forgot about switch statements. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to end the stream here. I hope you all enjoyed. Should have another tutorial coming out this week, but I'm not sure because it's the entity tutorial and it's going to take me a long time to edit it. I'm not sure if that will come out this week, but yeah, I am going to end the stream here, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.